Star Wars Rebels. He was also an Independence Day, if you remember that one. But of course, you know him as Dr. Soon. You know him as many of his relatives. You know him as David. It's Prince Ryan. Next, you know her from NCIS. You know her from Franklin and Bash, Mad About You, The Hunt for Red October, and you know her mostly as Dr. Benjamin Crusher. It's Miss Gates McFadden. Alright, last but not least, you know him from My Little Pony, a bunch of Blizzard video games, Charm, Stargate SG-1, a little show called Breaking Bad. I don't know if you've seen that one. And of course, he was our favorite intergalactic troll. He was cute. It's John Clancy. How's everyone doing? How have you seen the Rocket City so far? Have you gotten around town at all?
From the airport to here.
I'm still letting you run with it.
All right. Hey. Welcome to Rocket City. Go crazy.
No one's here.
Roll Tide! Roll Tide!
We talked earlier, you're from Texas. Were you a Longhorns fan?
I like longhorns. I like shorthorns too.
Okay. We may have to share that one.
I think this is a sexist moment. I just want to say this about that. Thank you, Q.
So I talked with the crowd here earlier. We did have a lot of people who hadn't watched the last episode yesterday, so we're going to have to dance around spoilers.
Do you want us to act it out?
Let me just say this one thing to you, though. It's not going to go like you thought it would. Was there a question?
Well, let's start with this. I'm going to get things rolling here, so we're going to hand it to you guys here in just a few moments, but we'll go non-spoilery on Picard. I wanted to ask you guys, you had a lot of experience between the movies and this recent series. What informed your choices for your character? Going back in on kind of new versions, whether it be a lot of time had passed or whether it be new software, whatever it may be. How did you choose to play your character differently this past year?
I decided to actually go with the script. And whatever they wrote, that's what I said.
Gates, a good question for you too.
I just wanted to say, I planned my performance based on all of the years of Brent's performance, and I just said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. John, what about you?
Oh, is he here?
Yeah.
I know.
What's the question?
Now, John, you've got a lot of time in season 2. Like, how did you choose to approach the character differently, if at all?
Well, I just figured if I did anything like I did back in Next Generation, it would be unseen. Many years had passed. So I decided that he had to be a little older, a little wiser, and a little like what I am now.
You're handsome, all right. He's handsome, all right.
I look like he was a little bit more of a silver fox in season 2.
Yeah.
Well, silver anyway.
Yeah.
Now, I got one thing for each of you. We're going to turn it over to the audience.
I want to.
You guys have been my TV family ever since I was 5 years old. So this is a privilege and honor to hang out with y'all. And I've got to pick at you a little bit because I have one episode that was my favorite for each of you. Brent, my favorite was Measure of a Man.
Yep.
So that one was a powerhouse episode for you and John. And I feel like for me personally, when the series like really stepped into high gear. That one, if you don't remember, is when Data was kind of put on trial for being an android, and they were threatening to take him apart. But they argued his case to stay on the Enterprise. For that episode, how did you approach like coming across little human?
Did I? You know, what did you say we were? Your TV what? Your
TV family.
Yeah, you were kind of like my TV son. I can remember when we did Measure of Man, seeing you sitting on your couch. I have no idea how I approached it. You know what? I recently, a gentleman called me. It was this year. He called me and said, "I'm doing we're doing a screening at this museum of Measure of a Man, and I'm moderating it. I'd love it if you could come. I'm told it's one of your favorite episodes, if not your favorite." And I wrote him back and I said, "You know what? To be honest with you, I've never seen it, but I'd be happy to come." And I did, and I came a little early so I could watch it. And gosh, I was good. But yeah, in answer to your question, I have no idea. I really don't. I mean, it's a mystery, you know. It's like acting. I mean, John may not agree with this. Gates never thought of it. But it's a very ephemeral thing. You never know what's going to come out. Even if you plan it, even if you decide this is what I'm going to do, you have other people that you're working with, and you don't know what they're going to do. And so it just happens. There's kind of magic to it that you're not even expecting. And that's sort of the way it always is.
Love it. All right, Gates, you're up next.
Oh,
John, go ahead. Go
No,
for it.
I was going to agree, and you know, on stage, you are in control of most of what you do. Now, on film, you are in control of very little of what you do. Mostly just in terms of not even being told, you know, we want it this way or we want it that way, but in terms of just when they cut. Just when they cut controls a lot of what's going on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I think it's just about also staying present and being open. You know, the big thing is listening as well. Obviously, you know, with text, you make choices, but you always have to stay open to something you didn't expect might happen and really listening to what the other person's doing. It's collaboration.
Gates, the one I had that I want to use as a jumping point for you was the episode of Remember Me. And it is one of my favorites, and I feel like it was the best one for you to really show off because you were by yourself for a majority of that episode. It was the one where everybody slowly started disappearing. How tough is a situation like that for an actor when you have the stage or you have the screen all to yourself? Like, how do you bounce back and forth?
Well, I had a computer. I mean, in the dialogue, and someone would read out the line, so I actually wasn't alone. The book that was positive.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's like a situation, it wasn't hard because the actions were really delineated. Like, there was pressure and we had to solve something. And that's what Beth does well. She's, you know, looks for the solutions. And so I thought it was a really good episode. One of the things I liked pointing out, because it was pointed out to me by someone who was a feminist and said, you know, it's interesting because Picard never once doubted that what Crusher was saying. He didn't say, hey, listen, babe, you know, this time of month or something, because I think you're thinking that people are disappearing, but they're not. He never did that. It was like total respect, and that's very Star Trek to me. It was just, he's going, well, I don't think so, we just checked, but let's check again, you know, and I like that.
Thank you so much. All right, John, the one I picked for you is probably my favorite episode of the whole series. It's Tapestry. It was the one that was almost like a Charles Dickens novel, where Picard dies and he finds you are God, basically. That was so in that one, like, you really had to walk the line between, like, you kind of being like the douchebag that he usually is, but also being caring for your friend. Like, how do you approach a situation like that where you have to walk that line for an audience?
Well, you know, I'm going to make a technical talk. Okay?
That's great.
I don't actually have to walk the line. It's the audience that walks the line because it's written. So what you need to do is let's say you have to hit a certain things. You know, as an actor, you know, I need to deal with this particular event, and I need to make sure that certain things are really clear. But then it's the audience that fills in the gestalt. They're the ones that fill in all the other stuff. So when you get acting, which can be caricature type of acting or overacting, you'll get an actor, and we've all done it. I've done it. I know. You know, when we try to fill in all of this stuff, when we try to do it all, is when we keep the audience out of the process. So understanding what the story was, trying to hit the notes, stuff like that, and staying just enough so that you're not always, you know, pedal to the metal, constantly trying to control, you will get the performance that involves the audience.
I love that technicality. Good job. When can we take your acting lessons? All right, so we're going to throw it to you guys. I just want to give you a quick heads up. We have until 6:45, and they asked me. They asked me to tell you that I understand you guys are doing pictures after we get done with this, right?
We are.
All right. So there is a hot mic right there in the middle. If anybody wants to volunteer to go first, ask for that. I see your hand up. Yeah, go ahead and make a line behind you. That's cool. Oh,
And also feel free to ask any Jim Henson Labyrinth questions. That was a year ago. That was the first
all right, when you come up, tell us your name and where you're from. Go ahead.
My name is Katie Holiday, and I'm originally from New York, but I've been here for
Hey, we're trying to get your volume up
Where's
first.
Katie Holiday.
My name is Katie, H-A-Y-D-E.
Haiti. Wow, that's a good name. Haiti. Katie Holiday.
And I'm originally from New York City, but I've been here for about 15 years. So, it's not really a question, it's more, I'm 58 years old, so I've been watching from the original Star Trek all the way up to Picard. And I just wanted to say thank you for being Roddenberry because of the fact that this case, the fact that so many different issues were addressed on that show, and the audiences feel like they were. And it didn't matter what you were, orientation, it did not matter. And I just wanted to say that the part where all the, you guys came back and you were there, and it just made the heart melt. And I just want to say thank you for, from the original William chapter to now the part, even lower decks, the animations, and showing the world and all that. It's felt such an amazing thing. And I just thank you guys so much, because it makes me want to go back and watch it over and over again. So it wasn't a question, it was more like, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm James Pointer. I came to farmers out here in Huntsville. And thank you guys, all of you, all ones who aren't here too. And my question, y'all have been together for a while now, and we've also got to interact with some of the cast from the other. So how has your relationship changed as actors and also just as people with each other over the years and with the cast members from the other iterations of Star Trek?
Well, I think we were really lucky in that we hit it off almost immediately. All of us became really close. And as time has gone on, we've learned we can't trust these people. No. We're honest. We're still really good friends, all of us. And we're good friends with so many of the people from the other shows. It's like this giant, epic situation, and it keeps being added to. And it's like this huge fraternity that we all, or sorority. More sorority than fraternity. But it is it is like that, It's like you have something in common. You all have something in common, that you are part of this great epic thing that Gene Roddenberry initially imagined, that has gone on now for 56 years, 57 years, something like that. So it's been fantastic.
And I mean, this is part plug and part just example of exactly what he's saying. I was asked by the nacelle company to do a podcast. So I'm doing a podcast called Gates McFadden Investigates, and both of these wonderful characters have been on it. And also, I've had people like Tawny Newsom and Jack Quaid and Anson Mount is coming up, and it actually has been super fun for me, because there's so many people that I actually knew in conventions or something, but I didn't know much about their personal backgrounds, and they are so well cast. Everybody is such a cool person. I am not, I'm in awe of the way they've cast these shows. I think they've done a superb job. And I watch the other shows myself, not every episode, but I think they're fantastic shows. I mean, Sneakwood, all these people, they're amazing.
Yeah, I have to add to that. I think this show has something which most other shows don't have, and that is this afterlife. And the afterlife has us here.
Yeah.
So, we will go out and have dinner and drinks tonight. And so we keep on seeing each other in a way that we've all done shows for which we became friendly with, a couple of the people on the show. But it's a little more difficult to see them over the years because we talk just because. But here, that's another added part of Star Trek. I keep on going back to something which Roddenberry said to me on the second or third day of shooting. I had no idea what he was talking about. But he said, you have no idea what you've gotten yourself into.
I got a quick follow-up for you guys. You're talking about camaraderie. I read yesterday that, I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I'll try to be nondescript. On the credit scene, you guys got to improv around the card table a lot. Was that true? Did you just kind of make stuff up for that long scene with the overhead camera?
Yeah. Totally.
That's awesome. Did you ever get to improvise at all otherwise?
I basically made up everything I ever
That's what the way that you do it.
Yeah. But, no, we didn't improv. Not only did we not, we improv that scene, yes, but in Next Generation, we were not allowed to change a single word in the script. And if we did, we had this wonderful guy, Gates already mentioned him, Cosmo, that was our script supervisor, and he would have his script in front of him, and if we dropped one word to finish the tape, and he would say, sorry, did you want to say?
And actually, it was really hard to get any changes. But actually in Baby's Day, we had to have approval. We added some lines and did some bits, and also in Big Goodbye, but I had to get approval for all but maybe 2 of them. I just did, and they liked it. They could have cut them out because they weren't in. But they really wanted it exact. And Terry Metalis loves to have improvisation as well as he wants the script said, but he loves the, let's go with it, I like it.
Yeah, you could end up having long speeches on the Next Generation and discover that you had said wasn't instead of was not, and they're shooting it again, and you're going, you're just forcing me to remember lines. It's called reciting at this point in time. And so I wasn't very happy about it. There was one, I don't know if you guys know this, there was one where I just thought, God damn it. And the guy comes in, the other character comes in, and he says, tomorrow will be a good day. There will be a wedding and an execution. And then the camera's supposed to dump on me, which is, I hate it. We all hate that, We're supposed to just look out in his face. So I looked into the lens and I said, but I thought all weddings were executions. No!
Let's get to our next customer here. It's already made you ready. Introduce yourself.
So my name is Timothy, recent transplant to Huntsville. Past background in film tape. Now everyone is here for structure. And you've done a great job in pushing and training your characters. But I know that there are real people sitting here that have real lives. If you could go back in history, back in time, and meet your younger self as a child, what would you tell yourself as far as advice in life?
Well, I said this on a podcast recently. I was asked that question, and the answer is the same: buy Apple.
Buy Microsoft. Enjoy the ride. Stress less.
Yeah. Don't be so scared.
Yeah.
Don't be so scared. Don't be so self-conscious. And, Don't be a 2-martini.
All right, good one. Who do we got here?
My name's Julie Stokes, and I'm
Julie, I was going to call on you.
and I'm from Pensacola, Florida. And recently I read something about the fact that, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I read something about the fact that you guys were pranksters on the set of Next Generation and often in trouble with the studio people, which I had never heard before. And then I read Terry Metalis said that when they were shooting on the Enterprise D, that there were time constraints, and one of the problems was that you all were like herding cats. So I guess what I'm wanting to know is, what, he said it affectionately, obviously, but what kind of mischief did you get into, and who was the instigator, or?
Did you get notes from her?
We did not get in trouble from the studio. Our producer occasionally reprimanded us because we were just loud. And we were trapped on a sound stage with no windows for hours and hours every day. And we had a choice, we either go crazy or we have fun. And we went with the fun. And sometimes it got in the way of production, directors would get a little, irritated, but not that often.
No, there was no main instigator, I don't think. No, not at all. Spot was. But I think it's also that, like, if this time for Picard, I almost lost my mind there for a second. Picard was cold. It was so bloody cold on that set. It really was, and we had masks on. It was COVID time when we shot it. So, right, and you shot during that. So it's a different thing. It's not hard or funny, and do it when we've got a mask on. So I think we were well behaved except for that one time when we were on the Enterprise. I think Patrick got in a really good mood again, and he is, that kind of was nice because he'd been, I think, under stress a lot of the time, and that was really good. So we had a good time.
I think they want to hear a story. I don't have a story about Star Trek because I just came on intermittently, but how many of you were Days of Our Lives fans? Okay, well, there was, I'll make it really quick. Arlen Sorkin and I were on the plane trip, which was, the plane was crashing and what have you. It was a crash that lasted for 2 weeks. So one of the lines was, my line, we're crashing, put your head between your legs. Between your own legs. I was brought up, both Arlene and I were brought up to Brandon Tartikoff. Oh. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, who was the head of NBC, and he said, listen guys, you're very funny. And when you first came on the show, we had the little old lady with blue hair that would come once a week, and she was the censor. We now have to have 2 censors on all of your scenes. And you are not doing daytime, you're not doing prime time, you're not doing midnight, you're doing 2:30 in the morning time, and you're causing me a lot of trouble. So there's where I personally got in trouble.
Who we got next?
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm originally from Florida, transplant here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I grew up on Star Trek. Basically, I had 2 VHS tapes of the original series, and I watched them to the point where I couldn't watch them anymore. And then I found Next Gen. I was born in '92, but growing up in a home that was very abusive, you guys were kind of my moral compass. Has it ever been, if you were talking about...
Where does Q come in on that?
Every single episode, forgive me, Gates, barring the ghost candle one on the Scottish planet, always has some kind of moral lesson, always has something about humanity to teach you. And I guess my question is, when did you become aware, or were you aware from the very beginning of the show that this was something that was bigger than just a little TV show that was slotted in, that this was something that was going to be very culturally relevant?
Through you, the fans. Really, I mean, I think the fans are the ones who, thank you, the fans are the ones who really taught me what it was, because when you're working a show, you're not watching it. I didn't watch it either, because you're working all day on it, and that's the last thing you feel like doing. And so I think it's when, you would meet people who we were role models for, and they had gone into a field because of us and all of that. And it was astonishing to me in the beginning. Now I think everyone should go into medicine. No, I really did think it was the fans who taught me the meaning of the show I was involved in and how huge it was and how important it was. And I'm very grateful because I learned a lot about myself that I needed to learn through that give and take.
Well, I agree. I've learned nothing about myself. I actually very much agree. I didn't sort of get it.
Right.
I just kind of didn't get it. I mean, we're looking at it from a very different vantage point than you are. You know, we read the script and we now know what the story is. Okay. So the issue then is that we have to get down to work. And so it's a very different, we're building the house. We're not kind of living in the house.
What house? No, I agree with Gates. I think our objective was to do something entertaining. That's the only thing we were trying to do, was to do our jobs as best as possible, but to entertain people. And it wasn't until much later that I realized the impact and the ancillary impact that this entertainment had, that it spoke to people on all sorts of levels, and how inclusive it was, and how it, in some instances, actually changed people's lives. And that was really rewarding to find out. And it was better that we found out really after we finished doing it. Because then we would have tried to be so serious. And, I think it worked best because we're trying to do our jobs and entertain.
Well, quick follow-up, like, after the series is over, when you did the movies, did what you found out about the series affect how you handled the character in the movies?
No, I'm not sure I was aware of it even then. It might have been later than that. And still, even doing Picard, we didn't think, while we were doing Picard, you don't think about how this is going to land and how it's going to change somebody or impact somebody's emotionally or however. You just do the job, and that's what we're hired to do.
And also, don't you think, like, I don't know what you guys feel about this, but it was amazing for us who are friends to be in costumes and working scenes again. And that part was so cool, because we've aged together and we know each other, so it wasn't like, we didn't have to go through a lot of things you do when there's a show that you don't know the characters and the actors playing the characters. We did the characters, and it was joy.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual situation, because not a lot of shows get to do this, where they come back 25 years later and do it again. And so because we know each other so well, it's like we're family, and we really are. And the biggest difference was just seeing each other in costumes. It was our characters are almost an extended family of the family we already had.
Yeah.
I get to, talk to Dr. Crusher again, who I haven't talked to in a long time. And I got to hang out with Q in season 2.
I brought my costumes from home.
My mom made my costumes.
Let's get to our next question here. Introduce yourself.
Hi there. I'm Adrienne Beasley. I'm a Huntsville transplant. I think a lot of people are around here. I have 2 questions. First is to Q. I could probably find this out on the internet, but I think right here, so I want to know your perspective. You just kept popping back up. You show up one day and then you just show up a few episodes later. Was that intended from the start? And was it just your magnetic personality that they brought
Your magnetic personality.
Yes. Nothing was intended. Nothing was intended. I mean, even the way in which Farpoint was done was not intended. Farpoint being Next Gen's first show, it was intended to be a single episode. And Roddenberry was told and paid to make it an MOW. I was an afterthought. So, oh my God, so that wasn't the initial story. It was the initial story and then this added on story that included this character. So none of this was intended. And I came on with the idea of being it to be a one-off, and that would have been it. And I was, so for me, every time I came back was a surprise, a delight, but never intended.
All I can say is I'm really glad it happened that day. The other question I had was for all of you, which is you're all sort of talking back up on this new series again. Was the intent all along for everyone to become a part of the card, or did that happen?
I don't think it was the intent. I think the intent was to do a show about what had happened to Jean-Luc Picard in all of the years, subsequent years. And I think really, it was probably, they kind of gave the show to Terry for the third season. Terry Metalis, who ran the show, and he was a big fan of Next Gen, and he wanted it to be that, and so he asked everybody if they would come and do a season, and there you have it. We did.
Yeah, I can be maybe more, I'm going to say more than these two. Picard was not intended to have any of the next generation other than Picard. And I would say that the 800-pound collective gorilla in the room was the rest of the cast. And certainly after the first season and sometime inside the second season, it was finally agreed, look, we need to bring back the cast. And I would dare say that that's the reason why season 3 has been so wonderfully successful.
I mean, I understand there's a new Frasier coming back. With only Frasier.
They did bring back Nightmare, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Nightmare came back, didn't it? And hey, where am I?
All right, guys, I think we got time for one more, and then they've got to get over to the photo session. So I'm so sorry for those of you in the back. I'm so sorry, but we got one more. He's got the star feet.
Make it good, man. No pressure.
Should we applaud? Should we do a closer meter with these questions?
You got a very good hand, and you hadn't even asked the question.
My name is Wes from Huntsville, and I was going to ask a question, but it was already asked. I'll let somebody else ask it.
Excellent question.
So, we've already talked a lot about favorite episodes, the ones that really hit like high science fiction, but there's also those episodes in Star Trek that people think are kind of silly. You mentioned the alien ghost one. What episodes do you agree really are those types of episodes for you that are on that other side of Star Trek? Sillier kind of.
Yes.
Side.
Yeah, well, it is now, when I first saw the script for Sub Rosa, my mouth dropped to my knees. I just was like, you are kidding me. Her whole female side of her family has been screwing around with a ghost. It was very far-fetched, okay? But again, your job is to play the script. But now it has become such a cult favorite, Raising Them, that I love it and embrace it. And I get my own green lamp out at Vegas and
Yeah, I have, well, there's several, I think, particularly in the first season, but a similar episode to Sub Rosa's nonsense is that has become kind of a like sort of silly favorite in a perverse way is Masks. You know, a lot of people really like masks. People, you know what, I'll tell this as briefly as I can, but we generally did, the first year we all worked all the time, and then after that, somewhere around the third or fourth season, they figured out feature people and just do a bridge scene with everybody in it, and then let somebody carry an episode. And we were always thrilled when it was somebody else's episode. So we worked one day of the episodes, great. But I was doing an episode called Thine Own Self, and it was kind of a Frankenstein story a little bit. This little girl in Data, and it was exhausting. But I came to the last day of the episode, and I was so excited. Tomorrow it's going to be somebody else's show, and the script for the next episode arrived that night. And it was masks, and I played 5 characters. I was still shooting the other episode, and so I called Jerry Taylor, who was one of the producers, and I said, I don't even have time to read this, much less figure out how I'm going to do these 5 characters tomorrow. And she said, we have faith in you. But some of the acting in that episode is so preposterous. I'm not kidding when I tell you, I was in a turbo lift with Marina and Colomini, and they were laughing in my face. Every time I opened my mouth, they would start laughing. And the final scene was between Captain Picard and Data, who were both wearing these masks, and he's the god of the sun, and I'm the goddess of the moon. And it was 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, and we could not stop laughing. The crew hated us because we would look at each other and just break up. And somehow that episode has become sort of popular in its ludicrousness. Yeah.
John, before we get out of here, do you have any favorite episodes like that?
Well, not favorite. I don't even know the name of it, but it was the one in which does Q love Blanche? Who cares? Who cares? I work best at the character, works best at, big philosophical issues, and whether I love Blanche or not.
All right, thank you for the question. I'm so sorry we couldn't get to
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Let's give it a
Coming in before you start heading out of the doors, if you can please look to your direct.